And Wildcat basketball is on the air from St. Paul. We welcome you to the Butler Center on the campus of St. Katherine University. Tonight, the Wildcats open up their MIAC women's basketball, their conference portion of their season, as they host a very tough St. Ben's Blazers team. And with that, we welcome you into tonight's coverage on tjsportsonline.net. Matt Nelson with you alongside of expert engineer Tom Ritchie. So happy to have him along tonight as well, turning the knobs and pushing the buttons and doing all of the heavy lifting on tonight's broadcast as the Wildcats host the Blazers. Again, I'm Matt Nelson. Tom Witchen was with you for that non-conference game against Northland, but it's great to be back with you here tonight in St. Paul. Let's talk about these two teams before we hear from head coach Don Mulhern. The Wildcats 2-4 overall on the season, 0-1 so far in the MIAC. That game was their last time out, and it was Saturday just up the road at St. Thomas. They're number 3 in the nation, and the Wildcats fell behind early and couldn't close that gap, losing by a final score of 82-66, but there were some bright spots. The Wildcats got a big afternoon out of freshman Sam Orth, 21 points on 9 of 15 shooting. She also had 6 boards, but the Wildcats were outscored 30-14 in the first quarter. And when you fall behind by that margin against the number 3 team in the country in Division III, it's going to make for a long afternoon. Don Mulhern is their head coach. He's in his second season. The Wildcats have a record of 2-4 and 0-1 in conference play. On the other side of the bench, Mike Durbin, 33rd season, the dean of women's basketball, coaching in the MIAC. St. Ben's and the Blazers have a 500 record, 3 wins and 3 losses, 6 games into the 2018-2019 season. But they are 1-0 in the MIAC, so they find themselves in first place early in this conference schedule. But their last time out, their first conference win was a big one. Gustavus was picked second in the preseason poll. They even got the 1 first-place vote. St. Thomas had 11 of them, but Gustavus had a first-place vote. And the last time out, the Blazers defeated them 64-61, a big win at home for St. Ben's at Claire Lynch Hall. Maddie Schmitz had 14 points and 11 boards, a double-double. And number 11, Megan Thompson, chipped in with a baker's dozen as well, as she had 13 points. In the preseason conference poll, St. Ben's was picked to finish 4th, and the Wildcats picked to finish 7th. Both these teams playoff eligible last season. And a reminder, tonight's broadcast is interactive. We want to hear from you, the fans, whether you're rooting for the Blazers or for the Wildcats. Drop us an email, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Let us know who you're rooting for tonight and where you're watching from. It's our Wildcat pregame show. Let's take a short breather, and when we come back, we will hear from head coach. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's hear from the head coach of Wildcat basketball. That is none other than Don Mulhern. He's in his second season as Wildcat head coach. Brought this team to the postseason last year. Has them off to a 2-4 start in their first 6 games and looking to even their MIAC record at 1 win and 1 loss as they open the conference season here tonight in St. Paul. Let's hear from the coach on our Wildcat pregame show.
Wildcat pregame show is on the air tonight. The MIAC opener in St. Paul as the Wildcats host St. Ben's. It's now that time again to catch up with Coach Don Mulhern. And Coach, first of all, great to see you. Hope you had a great off season. We're 6 games in. What do you know about the 2018-2019 Wildcats?
That's a good question. I think that we've got a lot of pieces of the puzzle that are evolving, that are getting better, and we're trying to figure out rotations, trying to figure out roles and all those sorts of things. So there's a lot of moving parts, and that's a good thing, but we're trying to get the different parts to be fitting in together. We're trying to get people comfortable with new roles. We're trying to get the younger players kind of caught up to speed with college play. So there's a lot of things occurring, and it's a slow but sure process.
Last time out against very good competition against St. Thomas, one of the newcomers, Orth. Big game, more than 20 points, and did it pretty efficiently. Against that kind of competition, I'd imagine very encouraging.
It is very encouraging. She did not play scared. She just let her athleticism really, take over. And she's a really kind of spontaneous athletic player that makes random plays, that's really tough inside, great offensive rebounder. And, we have high expectations for her. I thought she played really well, against a really good basketball team.
One of your veterans is back. You used to have 2 Clarks. Now you've just got 1. Audra Clark is back. not a lot of tread, I imagine, left on those tires. She's played an awful lot of minutes. How has she looked so far? Is she healthy? Has she had a big impact out there for your team having her back?
She's had a very big impact. She's playing very well. And, she was out all last year with a knee injury and literally was cleared by the doctor the Friday before the first day of practice on Monday.
Wow.
And, the fact is that when you sit out a year, it really ends up being 2 years that you haven't played, in essence. So there's getting the rhythm back and your shot back. She's really done well at attacking the basket, creating plays, being aggressive. And I think what you're going to see with her is that she just kind of gets a little bit more timing back over the years. She's going to get better and better, but we've been really pleased with her.
Let's get into the X's and O's. We always talk about the last time out before we talk about tonight's game. The Wildcats host St. Ben's in St. Paul on a Wednesday night. The last time out, really a story about those first 10 minutes. It looked like St. Thomas came out and played with great energy. That's a tough team to come from behind against.
Well, that's an understatement. They're number 3 in the nation for a reason. They shoot the ball so well. And, they're kind of pick your poison. They have Hannah Spalding, obviously All-American inside, and she earns that. I mean, she's that good. Go watch her. You'll enjoy her play. So when you try to double, she's so good at kicking the ball out. Well, they've got such good perimeter shooters that they make you pay there. They shot in the first half 57% from the 3, and there's a lot of good shooters that couldn't go in a gym by themselves and shoot that, and they're doing that in a game. So I thought we actually did pretty good things, but they make that extra pass, and you've really got to just, up your level of play. You've got to close out with extreme aggressiveness, and it's easy to talk about those things and try to do them, but to their credit, they did a good job of responding.
I saw your team shot well from the floor, inside and outside of the arc, though.
We shot better than we have, and that's a process. We've got to shoot better. We just do. We've gotten pretty darn good looks. The challenge is, shooting those contested shots inside against, the taller girls, and it's a process. We're in there every day trying to get better at it, and we've just got to be better at that part of the game.
How much do you know about this year's St. Ben's team? I saw they were picked towards the upper third of the conference in the preseason poll. A nice win for them there last time out as well. What have you seen?
Well, they're good. They have a guard, Megan Thompson, who's a sophomore, really dynamic, one of the most dynamic guards in the conference, goes coast to coast, quick, aggressive, very good defensively. So she's very good. They've had a player, Alex Johnson, who may or may not be playing. I don't know. She's been hurt, but she's a big post for them in time. They've got Schmitz, who flat out sophomore can play. So they've got some good young players, and they're going to get better throughout the year. They had a nice win their last game, and I'm sure they're going to be very prepared for this game.
Coach, we'll get you out of here on this one. When you look at this opening portion of the MIAC schedule for your team, it's not easy. It's very challenging. You have a team still trying to find its identity and young players getting used to those new roles. Do you like that? Do you wish maybe it was a little easier transition into conference play, or is it a good opportunity for these younger players to see what this level is really about?
Well, it's an opportunity. Every team in the conference this year, there's not a gimme game in the conference. If you look at up and down the conference, different teams have played well throughout the quote-unquote preseason, and so you better be ready, and if you're not ready, they're going to take it to you, and that's the fun of the challenge of the MIAC, and the fun of the challenge of college basketball is you got to bring it every night, and for the first-year players, it's learning that they need to come, be prepared, and all that, and that's our challenge for tonight.
And we're ready for a good game tonight as well, Coach. Best of luck in the conference opener here at the Butler Center.
All right, thank you very much.
There he goes. That is second-year head coach Don Mulhern joining us in our Wildcat pregame show. Some great thoughts about the last time out against St. Thomas, as well as tonight's game against the Bennies from St. Ben's. Let's send it downstairs. We'll honor America with the playing of the Star Spangled Banner, and we'll keep it down there for the introductions as well here at the Butler Center as the Wildcats host the Bennies.
The matchup between the College of St. Benedict Bennies and your very own St. Catherine University Wildcats. Now, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I ask that you please rise, please face the flag, and please remove your caps as we now honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Jillian Folt will lead us in the singing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's
Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's meet the starting lineups for both teams, alternating between the visitor and the home team. For the Bennies, a sophomore forward from St. Martin, Minnesota, number 1, Maddie Schmitz. For the Wildcats, a first-year forward from Maple Grove, Minnesota, number 23, Sam Orth. For the Bennies, a senior wing from Lake City, Minnesota, number 5, Brianna Gates. For the Wildcats, a first-year guard from Cottage Grove, Minnesota, number 14, Taylor Johnson. For the Bennies, a sophomore point guard from Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota, number 11, Megan Thompson. For the Wildcats, a junior guard from Minneapolis, Minnesota, number 11, Danica Cambries. For the Bennies, a sophomore forward from Plymouth, Minnesota, number 22, Shay Olson. For the Wildcats, a junior guard from St. Paul, Minnesota, number 15, Jackie Radford. For the Bennies, a junior wing from Albany, Minnesota, number 24, Sydney Schiffler. And for the Wildcats, a senior guard from Kenyon, Minnesota, number 13, Audra Clark. Assistant coaches for the Bennies are Steve Hall-Veenstra, Caitlin Kufler, Allison Newton. The head coach in his 33rd season is Mike Durbin. Assistant coaches for the Wildcats are Tim Kerr and Trent Davis. Head coach in his second season is Don Mulhern. The officials for tonight's game are Gordon Hansen, Tim Whitaker, and Tim Gilbertson. And fans, reminder that the MIAC...
And with that, we'll bring it back upstairs. We're ready for some MIAC women's basketball. The Bennies on the road in St. Paul taking on your Wildcats. Reminder, tonight's broadcast is interactive. You can drop us a note at wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. Let us know who you're rooting for tonight and where you're watching or listening from, whether it be in the great state of Minnesota or anywhere around the world. On your smartphones, you're casting on your smart TVs, your iPads, wherever it might be. We thank you for joining us on this Wednesday night. A little bit of snow outside, but nice inside of the Butler Center. Wildcats wearing home whites, trimmed in gold with purple numerals. St. Ben's and the Bennies, road reds, trimmed in black with white numerals. A tip is up, and off we go. The Wildcats win it. Cam Bryce works it ahead quickly for Clark, and that quickly the Wildcats have scored, and they go on top. It is Orth tipping it to Cam Bryce, who drops the dime to Audra Clark, who's back for a second go at her senior season. She lays it up, and the Wildcats lead it 2-0. Megan Thompson controls. Now Sydney Schiffler back for Thompson. Into the paint we go. That's Brianna Gates, and she stepped out of bounds. No, it was pressured out of bounds by Cam Bryce. The ball will stay on this side with the Bennies, and the shot clock is good with 13 seconds left in it for St. Ben's. Their starters in the front court, Gates and Schmitz. In the backcourt, Thompson, Schiffler, and I suppose we'll put Olsen in the front court as well. So 3 front court players, 2 backcourt players. The Wildcats start 4 guards, Cam Bryce Clark, Johnson, Radford, and Orth in the front court. She had a big game last time out against St. Thomas. Spinning into the lane is Thompson. Top of the key, she sends it Olsen. Now left-hand side, Gates drives, pulls up her dribble, puts up a shot. That's short. Got her own rebound. Through 3 Wildcats. Layup is up and short, and a foul is going to be called against the Wildcats on the putback. And it'll send St. Ben's to the free throw line for the first time tonight. Brianna Gates to the line, averaging 4 points a game in this young season, and so far 1 of 3 from the free throw line. First shot is good. Gates, the wing player, senior, Lake City, Minnesota, has started all now 7 games this year for the Bennies. And she goes 1 of 2 from the free throw line. Rebound, Radford. Wildcats by 1. Clark with the basketball. The veteran into the front court, spinning. Sends it back outside for one of the newcomers. That's Taylor Johnson. Now shot off. Rebound, Orth. Her putback was blocked. Orth will retreat. Send it back for Audra Clark. Top of the key. Clark goes to work with the left hand. Now spins in with the right hand. Layup is too strong. And rebound for the Bennies. Schiffler comes up with it. Schiffler will backpedal and set up that Benny offense. Now Maddie Schmitz, averaging just under 12 a game. She's having a very good sophomore season. Gates surveys, now into the corner. That's Thompson working against Clark. Good matchup there. Matchup to watch throughout this game. Baseline pass into the corner for Gates. She had it stripped and stolen away by Cam Bryce. Now Clark into the front court. Radford spins into the paint. Dishes for Clark. Extra pass down low. Clark to Orth for two. And Sam Orth is on the board for the first time. Orth averaging 14 a game. And the assist to Audra Clark. Gates left wide open, decides not to shoot, now to the elbow. Maddie Schmitz drives, lost her dribble, Wildcat ball, and a turnover for St. Ben's. Tonight's broadcast is interactive. Drop us a note, wildcatsbooth@gmail.com, and let us know who you're rooting for tonight. Good start for St. Kate's, up by 3. 2 minutes into the basketball game. Clark drives in, uncontested, and lays it up nicely. Audra Clark has 4 of the Wildcats' 6 points, and they lead it by 5. Megan Thompson for Schiffler. Schiffler directing traffic. Staring down the veteran, Clark goes to her left hand, hands it off there for Olsen, and an offensive foul as Olsen bowled over Clark and drew the foul. Clark steps in, takes the charge. It's the first foul against Olsen, first foul against St. Ben's in this first quarter. If you're just joining us, welcome. 2.5 minutes into the game, and a 6-1 lead for St. Kate's, and they'll have the basketball. Johnson on the left wing, now Orth, top of the key, down low Radford. Kicks corner, Clark 3 is short, and rebound on the strong side for Maddie Schmitz, who looks to push the pace. Works it ahead for Thompson. Couple dribbles. Swim move. Shot good. Megan Thompson averages 14.5 points per game. The underclassman sophomore from Inver Grove Heights has her first 2 of the day. And the Wildcats lead is 3. Cam Bryce for Radford. She'll backpedal it out now. Drive baseline. Kick corner. Clark another try from there. This time she knocks it down. First 3 of the ball game for either team. Clark has 7 points early in transition. Layup short for Thompson. Wildcats have the ball and a 6-point lead. Clark with 7 of the Wildcats' first 9. Drive to the basket. Layup high off of the window and in for Taylor Johnson. The Wildcats lead it by 8, and it forces a St. Ben's timeout. Great start for the Wildcats. You're listening to St. Kate's basketball on TJSportsOnline.net.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction.
Great start for St. Kate's as we bring you back into the Butler Center gym here in St. Paul. St. Ben's with the basketball coming out of a Mike Durbin timeout. He could watch no more as the Wildcats built an early 8-point lead at 11-3. Thompson with the rock. Now she turned it over. It was stolen away by Audra Clark. Great start for Clark. She steals, drives, and the layup just off. Almost had a steal and score, but Clark couldn't finish off the layup. So into the front court for St. Ben's we go. Wide open look. Thompson lines one up and knocks it down sweetly. Megan Thompson has five of the 6 points for St. Ben's, and the Wildcat lead is trimmed to 5. Really a 5-point swing when you factor in the Thompson three-pointer and the miss on the layup by Audra Clark. It's a 5-point swing for St. Ben's, and this is a turnover. Cam Bryce threw it in for nobody. Schiffler picks it up and walks it in for the easiest 2 points St. Ben's will get in this first quarter. It's 11-8, the new score. See the emails starting to pile in on wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. We'll get you guys your shout-outs here in just a moment. Cam Bryce down low, one-on-one. Wildcats like that matchup, but this time Cam Bryce misses high off of the window. 3-on-2 for St. Ben's the other way. Thompson for Schiffler. Cam Bryce was able to close her out. This would tie it. Shot short, rebound Radford. Thompson made her last three-pointer. That one was short, and now a foul in the backcourt as Radford went charging into the front court and was bumped by Brianna Gates. The first foul on the senior Gates. Pedro is watching tonight. He's watching, Julie's watching from St. Joseph and streaming on the smart TV. Isn't that awesome? Years past, you watch on a tablet or a smartphone or your computer, and now you can cast onto your smart TV, so you're watching from St. Paul on the smart TV. Very nice work, Julie. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate you spending a part of your week with us here. From St. Paul, nice pass down low. Radford finds Sam Orth. Orth now with 4 points. And the Wildcats, we've seen now Cambryce, Clark, and Radford with some very nice passing, that time into the post for Orth. A 5-point lead for the Wildcats. Olsen has to pick up her dribble, and now trying to get rid of it under duress, and it was stolen away by Audra Clark, her second steal of the evening. Cambryce drives. Layup is good. She went right through two St. Ben's defenders. It was Holgate and Olsen defending to no avail as Cambryce has her first bucket of the night. Thompson wide open three. That's short. Rebound strong side. Olsen. Offensive board. Put back no good. Second try Olsen. That shot was blocked by Cambryce. And the Wildcats will keep it up by 7 with 4 minutes to go in the first quarter. Driving is Clark. Shot over the, now Orth the rebound. That shot is short as well. Wildcats getting good looks down low. Having a hard time finishing them in transition, and this time on some of their putbacks. Schmitz has the rock, left-handed dribble. Kicks it back up top. Schiffler lost it, and it's over and back. No touch by the Wildcats, and it's a turnover for St. Ben's. Good start shooting for St. Kate's. It'd be even better if they made some of their close baskets. 7 of 12 from the floor for St. Ben's. 3 of their first 9. 1 of 4 on their first 3-pointers. Mentioned for St. Ben's, their last time out at home, a great win against a Gustavus team that's going to be pretty doggone good this year. And St. Ben's beat them by 3 at home. 3-pointer, air ball might have been blocked. Bennies want to push the pace into the front court with it. Thompson past Clark, layup no good. Rebound stolen away by Clark. She picked it right out of the hands of the Benny underneath the basket. The post player, Cambryce, lines up a 3-pointer. That's off of the back iron. Chasing it down into the corner. A trio of players that's out of bounds, and Benny ball. It was Brenna Redmond who is in there down low on that rebound try that saw Clark rip it right out of Redmond's hands. Speaking of Redmond, taking a look, just a sneak peek of the inbox. It looks like we've got Redmond's watching. Wildcats ball into the front court off of a miss. Nice pass for Cambryce, who lays it up and in. Venegas finds Cambryce, who has 4 points. Wildcat lead is back up to 9. Biggest lead of the evening for St. Kate's. They played a tough first quarter on the road on Saturday against St. Thomas. They lost the first quarter 30-15. Tonight, a much different story at home. 3-pointers good for St. Ben's. Sydney Schiffler lines one up and knocks it down. Schiffler's had a great season shooting the long ball. Schiffler now with 5 points tonight. She has shot 40% from beyond the arc on this 2018-2019 season. Clark, pump fake, sends it down low. Nifty bit of guard work as Clark drops a dime to Donica Cambryce. Goes walking right in the back door, uncontested. And she has 6 points. The lead, 19-11, 8-point lead for St. Kate's. Thompson going to work. Now Redmond has it. Redmond guarded tightly by Venegas. Thompson drives, left-handed layup well over the iron. And a weak side rebound for Cambryce. Clark into the front court, gives a heave to the basket, and Redmond hauls in the rebound. St. Ben's, as they've done all night long, trying to generate offense by pushing the pace. A little pump fake and a travel. Benny's turn it over. And we've got another email into the Wildcats booth at gmail.com. And Shauna and Brian Redmond, they're watching from Salem. And they're cheering on the Bennies. No surprise on that one, and Brenna Redmond who's out there right now defending in that low post. Tangled up with Katie Benjamin, one of the good-looking newcomers for St. Kate's. Bryce drives, steps back, shot long, rebound Benjamin. Takes it back up top for Radford. Wildcats will have a fresh shot clock with a minute left on the first quarter clock. And an 8-point lead. Down low, Redmond's going to be called for the foul. It's going to send Katie Benjamin to the free throw line. The first foul against the freshman Redmond. So you never know where folks are tuning in from. Now we've heard from St. Joseph, Minnesota. We've heard from Oregon. All over the place on their smart TVs and their smartphones and tablets. So thank you to the Redmonds for tuning in tonight. First shot good for Katie Benjamin. Benjamin playing in her 7th game this season. She's played in all 7 games this year for St. Kate's, as she has a perfect trip to the free throw line. All 7 of those games have been off of the bench. Wildcats lead by double digits, 21-11. Not the start that St. Ben's envisioned in this one. High arcing pass into the front court, hauled down by Holtgate. Now Fingelson has it. First look at her going to her right. Around the screen, steps back around it. Wildcats hang with their defenders. Down low, Redmond, an elbow for Benjamin. Goes underneath, Adorth, and scores it. It's the first bucket of the evening for Redmond, and it cuts the Wildcat lead to 8. So Redmond called for the foul on one end. Wildcats get 2 of the free throw line. Redmond answers back with a score of her own. Outside 3! Venegas playing in her 7th game this year, averaging 18 minutes a game. She knocks down the three-pointer. The lead is the biggest of the night, 11 points. Shot off for Gates. Rebound Wildcats. They got 6 seconds to work with. Into the front court. With it they go. Wildcats go down low. Radford gets a shot off. Can't find the roll, but a great first quarter for St. Kate's. Would have liked to have made a few more of those shots in the painted area, but the Wildcats will carry an 11-point lead into the second quarter. Let's break with the players. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com.
Well, we welcome you back into St. Paul, the Butler Center here on St. Catherine University campus. And we got another email reminder. Tonight's broadcast is interactive as we get underway in the second quarter. This one comes from Kenyon, and it's Sharon Quam watching her nieces Audra Clark and Emma Nelson. Computer cabled into the TV. Fun to see on the big screen, liking what they see so far. Thanks, Sherry, for watching and tuning in from Kenyon. Seen a great start for Audra Clark so far in this one. I haven't seen Emma Nelson. Saw a lot of her in the volleyball season, though. Radford on the rebound. Boy, St. Ben's has really struggled shooting the ball early in this one. Amaker down low with it. The shot is no good, but a foul is called. It's going to send Sam Orth to the free throw line. First foul against St. Ben's in this second quarter, and the foul call against Maddie Schmitz. That's her first. So thank you again, Sherry, for tuning in. You've made your TV into a smart TV with that cable. First shot is good for Orth. She's already got 5. Orth just over 14 points per game, more than 8 rebounds per contest to go along with 60% from the free throw line. This lead continues to build. Orth a perfect trip to the line, and the Wildcats lead it by a baker's dozen. Gates has it. Guarded by Amaker. She'll dribble it in off of that right-hand side wing. Amaker harassing and is called for the foul. Bennies will get a fresh shot clock, and Amaker will be called for her first foul. 9:16 left in the second quarter. Amaker back to the bench. Cam Bryce back in as the Wildcats look to continue the strong defense that they've played so far in this one through just about 11 minutes of basketball. This is going to be a foul called. I think they're going to catch Clark trying to sneak around and poke the ball away from Olsen. Let's see who they want to give this one to. It is against Audra Clark, senior out of Kenyon, called for her first foul. Clark missed most of last season. We'll call it all of last season. I think the injury came in the 9th game, the injury to her knee. As the Wildcats are going to have a steal, Audra Clark comes up with it. Another turnover for St. Ben's. I was talking to the coach, Don Mulhern, in the pregame show, and I said, not certain of how much tread is left on those tires. Both Audra and Meg Clark play a tenacious style of basketball. Both of them half the time wind up on the floor as Clark goes down low and finds Cam Bryce. She now has 8 points. Both of those two players have never been shy about taking a beating out there on the court, but he said she was cleared right before practice began and has played great so far this season. And she has tonight as well against St. Ben's. Foul against Cam Bryce. No, a travel. Maddie Schmitz called for a travel. Schmitz has been held scoreless. A minute and a half into this second quarter. Holgate will come in, and Schmitz will take a breather. And we love the emails. They keep pouring in. I can tell we've got a great crowd watching tonight's game. There's actually a great live audience as well here at the Butler Center. Bleachers are pretty much full. Clark drives, dishes. Orth can't finish it off. Got her own rebound and was fouled. Orth to the line to shoot 2. As Orth missed the layup, got her own rebound and drew the foul against Shea Olsen. The second for the post player, the sophomore out of Plymouth. And Mackenzie Holgate's grandparents, they're watching all the way from Arizona. Carol is watching along. First free throw, no good for Orth. Her first miss from the free throw line tonight. So thank you for tuning in all the way from Arizona. A little bit of everything. We got good, strong showing from the Benny fans. Right now they're outnumbering the Wildcats fans, but I'm sure we'll hear from them as the evening goes on. Orth goes 1 of 2 from the line. She's got 7 points tonight, and the lead for St. Kate's is 16. They trailed St. Thomas by 15 at the end of the first quarter on Saturday. This is a more comfortable position. Down low, losing it and getting it back with Schmitz. She'll kick it back outside for Schiffler to set up the offense. Into the corner, Gates with it, spins off Cam Bryce, pulls it up from 10 feet, and misfires on an air ball. Orth, weak side rebound. Clark pushing the pace for Cam Bryce. Slicing in, now pulls it back up. Clark to the rack, layup off. Rebound won by the Bennies, and Clark's going to be called for the foul. Second in this second quarter against Audra, and I think it's going to get her a spot on the bench. There goes Venegas, and Clark will get a breather and a high five from Don Mulhern. So thank you again, Carol, for tuning in and dropping us that email into Wildcats booth at gmail.com. And another turnover for St. Ben's, losing it right in front of the Wildcat bench that time was Gates. And the Wildcats are officially in firm command of this game in this first half. And turnovers and poor shooting early have plagued St. Ben's. Right now, St. Ben's shooting just 5 of 17 from the floor. Venegas trying to get it down low, is picked off by Brianna Gates. Gates has the steal. She'll take it into the front court on her own. St. Ben's 5 of 17 from the floor. They've turned the ball over 7 times. The Wildcats have turned it over just once. Three-pointer, too strong that time for Holgate. Rebound for Taylor Johnson, the freshman out of Cottage Grove. Cam Bryce, strong pass down low. Orth was barely able to keep it alive and send it back for Venegas. Now Cam Bryce again. We'll try it once more for Orth. Off of the window. That shot is off, and Holgate the rebound for the Bennies. Holgate in the front court. Tried some fancy dribbling. Had it poked away by Cam Bryce. Scooped up by Orth. Orth back up top for Venegas. Johnson will direct traffic off of the left side. Wildcats still have 20 seconds on their shot clock. Orth down low. Cambryce, extra pass. Venegas up top. Radford lines up a three-pointer and knocks it down. Nothing but the bottom of the net for Jackie Radford, who has struggled shooting this year, shooting just 27%. That time, though, she lined it up and knocked it down. The lead is 19 for St. Kate's, their biggest of the night. Third foul against St. Kate's. Ball will stay on this side with the Bennies. The foul called against Venegas, her first. 8 turnovers for St. Ben's against 1 for St. Kate's. Wildcats have shot 12 of 23, 52%. St. Ben's shooting just 27%. 32-13, the lead for St. Kate's over St. Ben's. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball, and keep the emails coming in. Let us know where you're listening from. Wildcats Booth at gmail.com.
Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com, and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information.
Bring it back into the Butler Center. We welcome you back in. Matt Nelson with you. Second quarter, almost halfway in the books, and the Wildcats leading 32-13. Bennies with the ball. They'll try a three-pointer. Shot short for Holgate. Bennies will get another crack at it, though. Offensive board for Thompson. Again, this team right now that has really had a tough time with St. Kate's, as that layup is good. Taking it to the basket and scoring is Maddie Schmitz. That's her first bucket of the night. They beat Gustavus, who actually got a first-place vote in the preseason poll. They were picked to finish second. St. Ben's was picked to finish fourth, and the Wildcats 7th in that preseason poll. Venegas with it, kicks it back outside. Long two on the way for Benjamin. That's off, weak side rebound, Radford, but she stepped out of bounds. Wasn't pressured, but just lost track of where she was on the floor and stepped out of bounds. 5:04 left in the second quarter. And a 17-point lead for St. Kate's. St. Ben's, they picked up 89 points in the balloting in the preseason to come in number 4th. They got 6 votes in the D3 Hoops preseason poll nationally as well. Last season was Mike Durbin's 25th 20-win campaign. Unbelievable. His 33rd year as the head coach for the Bennies. Foul's going to be called on Radford, and it is going to be the 5th foul against St. Kate's. That means 2 shots upcoming. They foul against Radford, her first, and it will send Schmitz to the free throw line for 2 shots. That makes Durbin, that 25th 20-win campaign, makes him one of just 5 Division III women's basketball coaches to have 25 or more 20-win seasons. Schmitz goes 1 of 2 from the free throw line. She's got 3 points. And your new score is Wildcats 32, Bennies 16. You can hear Don Mulhern hollering out instructions to his offense. Radford at the free throw line. Kicks for Benjamin. Now down low we go for Radford. One-on-one there with Schmitz. Left-handed hook shot is good. Good offensive game so far for Radford, who I mentioned had struggled mightily with her shot this season. She's got a three-pointer and now her first bucket from inside of the arc. Johnson drives, pulls up, and misses high over the arc. Another air ball. Rebound Radford. Thompson's had a tough time tonight. Has 5 points. Cambryce looks down low for Benjamin. Instead, ships it into the corner. Now Venegas for Cambryce. Drive, double team, picks up her dribble, goes Radford through contact. Layup too strong. Rebound Maddie Schmitz. St. Ben's pushing the pace into the corner. Ingleson lost her defender, drives, had her shot blocked. I think Venegas is the one that blocked it, and the Wildcats will play 3-on-3 basketball into the front court. Cam Bryce drives baseline, shot short, got a rebound, puts it back up and scores. Cam Bryce is in double digits. She leads all scorers with 10 points, and the Wildcats are really having some fun on the offensive glass. I'm sure for Mike Durbin's taste, way too many second and third chances for St. Kate's on the offensive end. And when you're trying to cut the lead, that's the last thing you can do. That one's poked away from Olsen. Radford the steal. She'll push the pace. Drops a nice pass, and heading in the back door and scoring is Lauren Isaacson. The Wildcats are all over St. Ben's. Mike Durbin takes a timeout. Wildcats by 21 with 2:59 to go in the second quarter. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
Peoples Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on Peoples Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com.
Emails continue to pour in as the Wildcats are off to a great first half start. Really, it couldn't be much more different than the game Saturday at St. Thomas that saw them fall behind 30-15. Right now they lead 38-16 with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. St. Ben's basketball. Wildcats have been getting it done on defense, forcing turnovers. Now double team, spinning out of it with Schmitz, and she traveled. Another turnover for St. Ben's. Another email into the Wildcats booth at gmail.com. And wow, it's a full house. Samantha's dad, uncle, boyfriend, and boyfriend's mom are at the game. Oh, so a full house here, and I'm watching the game on TV. They're on fire. Karen Orth watching, and an and one for Orth. So you get an Orth email into the inbox. Orth scores. Orth draws the foul. It's Holgate's first. And we'll go to the free throw line. Orth already with 9 points. She has a chance to tie Cam Bryce for the game's leading scorer and go into double digits with this free throw. It's off of the front iron, so Orth will stay at 9 points. I was going to say when Karen's email came in, dad, uncle, boyfriend, boyfriend's mom, that sounded like a taping of Family Feud. But they're at the game in St. Paul, and Karen is watching the game on TV, and she likes the way the Wildcats have played early. Why not? Up by 24 points. St. Ben's will try a long three-pointer. That's short. Rebound Schmitz, and she was fouled by Benjamin. Schmitz to the free throw line where she shoots 62%. Some familiar names no longer with this St. Ben's team. Some players that really had great careers with the Bennies. Chelsea Getter and Nikki Foken. And Nikki Foken, especially watching her over her career at St. Ben's, I really thought she was a great player. They're a little bit more of a backcourt heavy team this year. Second free throw, no good for Schmitz. Rebound Orth, and here come the Cats. Last year a little bit more balanced. This year's team's going to depend a bit more on three-point shooting by the looks of things. They do have some good post players though as well, so I mean, you look at the win against Gustavus their last time out on Saturday, and you just got to say the Wildcats thus far, through 18 minutes, they've just been the better team. Radford down low, tried to find a cutting Amaker, and she had it stolen away. Good defense by Fingelson. Works the ball ahead to the wing. Johnson tried to get it down low, and Radford's called for the bump on Schmitz. So Schmitz back to the free throw line. Radford called for her second foul. The encouraging news for St. Kate's is they've been able to keep the pedal to the metal even after the second foul called against Audra Clark. So most of this damage has been done with Clark on the bench. Schmitz makes her first, now 5 points on the night for Schmitz. Benjamin in for the Wildcats. St. Ben's will send Brianna Gates back in. So we've heard from St. Joseph, Salem, Oregon, Kenyon, Minnesota, Arizona, And I'd imagine that the down low, Benjamin her shot block. I'd imagine that Karen was watching from the western suburbs if I had to take a wild guess at it. Shot long, rebound St. Ben's. Wildcats by 22 with $1:20 to go in the first half. Nice pass for Gates. She had her shot contested. Shot was no good. Orth the rebound. And Faustness has it, and a double dribble is called. Faustness found Nelson, and Nelson was called for the double dribble. So a turnover for St. Kate's. Means it'll be Benny basketball as they look to cut into this Wildcat lead. Right now it sits at 22 points. 9 turnovers for St. Ben's. 3 now for the Wildcats. Wildcats shooting 50% from the floor. St. Ben's shooting 25%. 6 of 24 from the floor and 25% from long distance too. They're 2 of 8 on their three-pointers are the Bennies. They have the ball now though. Fingleson into the corner. 3 on the way, and it's knocked down. Mackenzie Holgate has her first 3 points of the evening, averaging 9 a game this year. She knocks down the three-pointer, and the lead is 19 for the Wildcats. Cambryce kicks. Orth, baseline drive, and she was fouled. The only answer that the Bennies have had for Orth tonight is to foul her. They foul called against Gates, her second, and Orth back to the line. Orth so far 3 of 5, now 3 of 6 from the free throw line. 3 of 5, 3 of 6, right, hanging right about that season average of 60%. And this time Orth comes up empty-handed on this trip to the free throw line. Again, the foul is the 4th of this second quarter for St. Ben's. Just 30 seconds left in the game. 23 on the shot clock for the Bennies. So the Wildcats should have the last possession with this comfortable lead. Redmond kicks corner. Now to the wing we go. Fingleson will line up a three-pointer. That's too strong. Cambryce rebound. 16 seconds left in the second quarter. No matter. Cambryce to the rack. Through 2 defenders. She scores and draws the foul. A chance at a three-point play for Cambryce. She'll head to the free throw line with 12 ticks to go left in the first half. 5th foul against St. Ben's. And the foul, the first against Fingleson. So Cambryce leading all scorers with her 10 points. Now 12, goes to the free throw line. And 3 straight misses from the line for the Wildcats. Redmond the rebound. 10 seconds left for the Bennies. Into the front court they go with Gates. Pass goes down low. Holgate spins through a triple team. Got it up top into the corner. Schiffler three-pointer, no good. And the Wildcats will take a 21-point advantage into the locker room. 20 great minutes of basketball for St. Kate's. But you better believe that Don Mulhern in his second season here at St. Kate's will be reminding his team that this St. Ben's team is dangerous. They were picked in the top 3rd of the MIAC preseason poll, and you know that they've got 1 or 2 more pushes towards that 21-point lead left in them. The Bennies will try for a comeback, trying to get that second conference win of the season. The Wildcats will look to hang on to this 21-point lead and even their conference record at 1-1. Second half coming your way when we come back. Looks like the dance teams in the house will carry that for you. We'll have stats and look back at the first half as well as the second half preview when we come back. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. People's Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on People's Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com. Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker. Other Wildcat sponsors include McGough Construction, the DLR Group, Push Pedal and Pull, the Newman Family, Sava Tree, Jimmy John's, and Munchie's Frozen Yogurt. As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. People's Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on People's Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com. Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker. Other Wildcat sponsors include McGough Construction, the DLR Group, Push Pedal and Pull, the Newman family, Sava Tree, Jimmy John's, and Munchie's Frozen Yogurt. As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the Upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities. Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics. For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. People's Electric Company is your full-service electrical contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on People's Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com. Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker. Other Wildcat sponsors include McGough Construction, the DLR Group, Push Pedal and Pull, the Newman family, Sava Tree, Jimmy John's, and Munchie's Frozen Yogurt. Well, that's a pleasant way to welcome you into the broadcast, isn't it? A nice, loud second-half buzzer into your ears and through the speakers of your smart TVs around the country. We welcome you back in. Matt Nelson with you alongside of our engineer tonight. That's none other than Mr. Tom Ritchie. Tonight's broadcast is interactive. It's Wildcats Booth at gmail.com. We had one rip through into the inbox during the halftime intermission, and that is Ronald Watkins. And he is watching on his iPad tonight from Hilton Head Island. That's in South Carolina, if my memory serves me right. He says, go Bennies. That's Ron Watkins watching tonight on vacation. Vacation viewing, he says. And he's hoping for a Bennies comeback. But it was a first half predominantly dominated by St. Kate's, as Don Mulhern will send out his original starting five to get the second half underway. St. Ben's likewise. St. Ben's 3-3 on the season. Wildcats 2-4. St. Ben's won their conference opener. They defeated Gustavus, and the Wildcats lost theirs to St. Thomas. Cambryce around the defense, walking it in and scoring with it. The Wildcats go right back to work offensively. Cambryce has 14 points, and the Wildcats lead at 44-21. Wildcats shot 51% in the first half from the floor. That'll work anywhere. Orth, the steal, pitches it off to Radford. Wildcats in transition. Audra Clark, who sat out most of the first half with 2 fouls. Outside for Radford. Three-pointer no good, and Holtgate chases down the rebound. Then he's in transition. Pulling it up just inside of the free throw line is Megan Thompson. She has struggled with her shot. Outside, second try, this time a three-pointer. Gates is off. Radford the board, and a foul against Redmond. Her second foul for number 13 in Benny Red. 44-21 your score. A minute into the second half, this third quarter. Mentioned Megan Thompson. She's now 2 for 9 from the floor. Slow start for Thompson, but a dangerous player. Averages 14.5 per game. She could get hot at any moment. Cambryce kicks into the corner for Johnson. Now Cambryce back up top. Audra Clark for Jackie Radford, who knocked down a three-pointer in the first half. Cambryce with 14 points. Low lining three-pointer, that's off. Radford chases down the offensive board in the corner. Down low, Cambryce dishes. Orth! Boy, nice job on the glass by St. Kate's, and a great pass for Orth, who's there to finish it off with her left hand. We're 90 seconds in to the second half, and the Wildcats picking up right where they left off. Nice bit of work offensively that time. Holtgate has 5 points, made a nice move, lost her defender, and very nicely knocked down the mid-range jumper.
Wildcats by 23 points. Orth, pump fake, goes to work offensively. Drive, layup too strong, rebound Redmond. Looked like Shea Olson laboring a bit up the floor. I wonder if she's maybe dealing with an injury. Three-pointer short for Holgate out of the corner. And he's trying to find some luck from the three-point line to try to get back into this ball game. Audra Clark now to her left hand. Radford looking at Orth down low. That's a matchup they like one-on-one. Orth against Olson. Cambryce can't get it down there either. Now Clark trying to get it for Cambryce. Orth will do it now. High-low action. Cambryce double team. Finds Radford cutting in, and Radford is fouled. It's the third foul of the night against Redmond. It'll send Radford to the free throw line. They only had the Wildcats for 5 offensive rebounds in the first half. That number seems a little bit shy, but we'll go with that as the official word. First free throw off of the back iron for Radford. Again, we can't tell you how much we love hearing from the listeners. You guys have been outstanding on this conference opener. Benny fans, Wildcat fans, all chiming into the broadcast. As Radford goes 1 of 2, she's got 6 points, averaging just over 7 per game this season. Why not be interactive on a broadcast? The one-to-many form of communication, that's old school. We like the many-to-many form of communication. Olson down low, Redmond, double team, back outside. Holgate for 3, lines it up and misfires. Loose ball chased down. Thompson comes up with it, goes down low, Olson. Her shot was blocked by Cambryce, and that draws a big ovation from the Wildcat faithful, but the pass is thrown away as the Wildcats tried to move it into the front court, tried to find Taylor Johnson. Instead, the ball found head coach Don Mulhern. He leapt up out of his chair, grabbed it, and gave it a smack and said, "Come on, guys." Schiffler with 5 points tonight. Now Holgate going to her left hand. Over Cambryce and scores. Mackenzie Holgate has 7 points. That's best tonight for the Bennies, who still trail by 22. Now Radford. Fourth. Very good young freshman down low. Cambryce is fouled. The third foul, I believe, against the Bennies here in the third quarter. It is their third foul, with 6:25 left in the third quarter, and the first of the evening against the 5'4" junior guard Schiffler. So a fresh shot clock as Radford triggers into Cambryce under the basket. Lost the handle, and it's stolen away by Schiffler. Schiffler with her head up into the front court. Now pulls back her dribble. Nearly lost it as she backpedaled away from the veteran Clark. Down low, Holgate lost Cambryce and was able to lay it up and in. Holgate has 9. That's what she averages per game this season. Holgate playing in her 7th game. She's also started 1. Lead down to 20. Down low, Orth, double teamed. Doesn't matter, split right through him and scored. Olson and Schmitz. No match for Orth, who now has 13. Schmitz, dribble, drive, got tied up by Venegas. And Venegas is called for the foul. The foul against Venegas, the second for the freshman. And with 5:40 left in the third quarter, Wildcats by 22. Largest lead for St. Kate's, 24 points. That was with 2:42 left in the second quarter. The Bennies have not led in this game. Foul's going to be called against Orth as she got tangled up with Megan Thompson. Just the first foul for Orth. I can tell you right now, this is my first look at this team, the 2018-2019 St. Kate's team. If they want to play with the top teams in this conference, one of the keys for them is going to be keeping Orth out of foul trouble. That's just her first foul. Layup rattled around, no good for Ingleson. Wildcats have it with Clark. Clark weaving her way through the defense. Kicks outside for Benjamin. She'll bring it up to the elbow. Back for Clark, more experienced offensive player. Venegas to her left hand, to the wing. Now Clark top of the key. Orth with it, high-low, why not? Cambryce lost her defender, played it up and in. Schiffler, no match for Cambryce, who now has 16 points. 51-27 your new score. Wildcats on top. Third quarter from St. Paul. A game the Wildcats have not trailed in. Fancy dribbling from Thompson against Venegas. Pass goes down low. Orth, good defense, and she's going to get called for a foul. She was all over Olsen, tipped the ball into the corner. Olsen collected it, but then Orth called for her second foul, and it'll bring her over to the bench. Coach going to send in Ashley Fosness. Orth's had a good game, though. 13 points. And again, she works pretty efficiently as well. Kicked ball. Mentioned Orth offensively has been very efficient. 5 of 9 shooting, has left a few points out there at the free throw line. 3 of 7 tonight. Wildcats as a team haven't shot the free throw particularly well. They're shooting just 50%, 6 of 12. Schmitz, three-pointer, knocked down. Big one for the Bennies. Maddie Schmitz now with 8 points. And the three-pointers have been hard to come by. Now 4 of 12 on the night are the Bennies. Here's one wide open. Fosness rattled in and out. Rebound, though, Amaker. Outside Cambryce. Another second chance for the Wildcats. Cambryce drives, dishes, and Benjamin lost it off of her foot. Katie Benjamin, 6'1", good-looking young post player out of Walker, Minnesota, playing in her 7th game this year. Turned that ball over, but the Wildcats lead by the exact margin they led by at the halftime intermission. They lead it by 21, 51-30 your score with 4:09 left in the third quarter from St. Paul.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction.
Coming back at you from St. Paul, Matt Nelson alongside of engineer Tom Ritchie. 51-30 lead for the Wildcats as the Bennies will let loose on another three-pointer. This one no good for Olsen. Mentioned the three-pointers have been hard to come by. Now 4 of 13 tonight are the Bennies shooting the long ball. Bennies shooting 30% on the night, and 4 of 8 from the free throw line as well. So both teams shooting just 50% from the line. Down low, Olsen, right by Radford, scored and drew the foul. A chance for a three-point play. Shea Olsen will go to the free throw line. The sophomore out of Plymouth draws the 3rd foul tonight against Radford, the 4th of this third quarter against St. Kate's. Amaker back to the bench. Radford will stay out there with the 3 fouls, and Audra Clark will come back in. 10 turnovers for the Bennies against just 5 tonight for St. Kate's, but they've scored 14 points off of the Benny turnovers. Olsen converts on the 3-point play. 51-33 the score. 18-point lead. Still hard for me to say Bennies. It was always Blazers. Blazers, but little rebranding effort for athletics at St. Benedict. And a foul is going to be called. This is 3 seconds in the lane. And it looked like they got Katie Benjamin on it. And she's going to take a seat. Emma Nelson will come back in. Smallest lineup we've seen tonight for St. Kate's. And a pretty heavy bench presence. Clark and Radford, the lone 2 starters out there. You've got Venegas along with Fosness, Radford, Clark, and Nelson. This is a smaller, more nimble lineup. Ingleson down low for Olsen. Goes through 2 defenders. Layup no good. Schmitz on the rebound, and I think they're going to call Clark on the foul reaching in. Let's see. No, it's Radford called for her 4th foul. 4th against Jackie means Cambryce comes back in. Orth coming back in. I imagine that coach is going to hook Fosness and Radford. We'll see after the first of 2 shots for Schmitz. Neither team shooting well from the free throw line. Here comes Orth and Cambryce, and just as we suspected, there goes Fosness and Radford to the bench. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Cats by 18. Second shot good for Schmitz. You'd like to say that this one's in the Wildcats' back pocket. I mean, they've got a huge lead with 2:55 left in the third quarter. In the old halves format, it'd be a, 17-point lead with 2:50 to go, or 12:50 to go left in the half. There's Cambryce knocking one down off of the elbow. Cambryce with 18 points. Pushes the lead back up to 19. But you just get the sense that this one's not over yet. Olsen off of the elbow. Shot missed badly. Cambryce, weak side rebound. Clark ahead with it. Tried to draw the foul. Nifty footwork by Schmitz to do a little dance move around her. Cambryce on the elbow. Into the corner. That's Nelson. Now Orth with it. Immediately double team. Cambryce down low. Lost Olsen. Swims underneath. Layup is off. Rebound by Fingleson, and she's fouled by Emma Nelson. Fifth foul against St. Kate's will send the Bennies to the free throw line to shoot 2. First foul against Nelson. Fifth against St. Kate's here in the third quarter. Lily Fingleson to the free throw line. Still looking for her first points of the night. And she's on the board. First free throw good. Fingleson, tough night shooting, 0 for 4. There's a few 0 fors on that St. Ben's shooting sheet. Gates 0 for 7, Thompson 2 of 9, Olsen 2 of 7, and Fingleson 0 for 4. And those are some of their most relied upon scores. Fingleson goes 2 for 2. Cambryce for Clark. Wildcats with the ball and the lead. 17-point lead, looking to build on it. Orth, one-on-one. Now had the ball stripped away by Schiffler. Good help defense. Clark got it back and traveled. Wildcats starting to pile up the turnovers here in the third quarter. That's their 7th of the game. So if you combine Gates, Thompson, and Fingleson, that's 2 of 20 shooting for the Bennies. Shot short for Megan Thompson. Rebound Clark. Thompson struggles continue. Now 1 of 4 shooting the 3, 2 of 10 from the floor. Minute 18 left in the third quarter. Cambryce down low, spinning, shooting. Shot off. Offensive board. Clark, and that trusty left-handed little spin shot that she does underneath the basket. That layup is good. Clark's first points of the third quarter. She's got 9 on the game. And if I had a nickel for every time that I saw Audra Clark come up with a loose ball under the basket, throw her backside into her defender, turn and shoot with the left hand off of the window, I'd have a heck of a lot of nickels. Three-pointer is good for the Bennies. It was Fingleson. She now has 5 points and a timeout taken on the floor. It's a 16-point lead for the Wildcats, so the Bennies have drawn 5 points closer than they were at the half. And let's break with the players. You're listening to Wildcat Basketball.
A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities.
And thank you to all the sponsors of Wildcat Athletics. They make these broadcasts possible and help enhance the student-athlete experience. Matt Nelson back with you. The Wildcats right now leading 55-39. 36 on the game clock in the third quarter. 14 left on the shot clock. Wildcats, Taylor Johnson in the corner. She's scored 2 points so far tonight. She'll back her way in. Dish for Orth. Charging layup too strong. And rebound for Schmitz. A little too much on that time for Orth. Now Thompson driving through 2 defenders. She was tied up and a jump ball called. Wildcats have the arrow. It's a turnover for the Bennies. And the Wildcats will have the last possession with 18 seconds to go in the third quarter. Wildcats leading by 16. Biggest lead in this one was 24. Bennies have trailed from the get-go. Clark drives, dishes, three-pointer on the way. That's good! Big shot in the closing moments. Isaacson knocks down the three-pointer. Cats by 19, and we go to the fourth quarter in St. Paul. Big shot, Clark to Isaacson, and it's Wildcats 58, Bennies 39 with 10 minutes to go from St. Paul.
Transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines Incorporated, dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website at northfieldlines.com. Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians for St. Catherine's University as well as Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others around the state of Minnesota. Visit tcomn.com and thank you to Twin Cities Orthopedics.
I might need to get to Twin Cities Orthopedics one of these days. Every time I go out there now and try to do something athletic, I pay for it for about a week and a half. That's not good. I might need to go in and see them. Matt Nelson back with you alongside of engineer Tom Ritchie. There's 10 minutes to go. It's the start of the fourth quarter from St. Paul with the Wildcats up by 19. What a great way to end the third quarter if you're a Wildcat. Clark to Isaacson, knocking down the three-pointer. The Wildcats are a pretty picky three-point shooting team. I saw they shot better than 40% from beyond the arc on Saturday against St. Thomas. Sean Pinkerton was their head coach before Don Mulhern took over. That team liked to hoist up a heck of a lot of threes. This team doesn't do quite as much of it. Tonight, 4 of 11 shooting the three-pointer. And that's a shot clock violation. Bennies didn't get it off in time. It's Wildcats ball and an empty possession, an empty 30 seconds without getting a shot to the goal for the Bennies out of what's essentially a built-in timeout now that we take quarter breaks. Not what Mr. Mike Durbin was hoping for out of that timeout. I don't know, for those of you that are joining us just now, I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, so much respect for Mike Durbin, what he's done at St. Ben's. Nice pass down low. Clark to Cambryce. Cambryce now with 20. And the lead is 21. Spinning and shooting. Nice little move for Mackenzie Holgate. Holgate's got 11. Clark into the front court, into the corner. One more time for Isaacson. Got that one. That's the other corner, but the same result. Isaacson with 8 points, and she's made her last 2 3-pointers. It's a 6-0 run for Isaacson, going the other way with it, laying it up and in is Gates. The first make from the floor for Gates. She has 3 points. Had one from the free throw line, but it hadn't missed her first 7 shots. 8:25 to go and a 20-point lead for St. Kate's. Clark for Cambryce, one-on-one. She's always going to look to shoot in the post when she's got one-on-one. Nice pass, though, for a cutting Taylor Johnson. And Taylor Johnson with 4 points tonight pushes the lead to 22. 2 points shy of the biggest lead of the night for St. Kate's. Pretty convincing effort by St. Kate's. Into the corner, Holgate 3. She steps into it and knocks it down. Nice looking shot. Mackenzie Holgate leads all Benny scores. She has 13 points. Isaacson now drawing a crowd after she made her last 2 3-pointers. One-on-one, Cambryce draws the foul. A foul against Gates. Her third will send Cambryce to the line for 2 shots. Make sure you stay tuned for our Wildcat post-game show. We'll be joined by a member of the Wildcat team. Talk about today's game. Cambryce leaves her first shot off to the right side of the iron. Free throw shooting. Might have some work on that in between now and St. Olaf on Saturday. Now just 41% from the free throw line. 6 of 13. Cambryce makes her second. Cambryce with 21, averages 17 a game. The lead is an even 20. Thompson, knocks that one down just off of the elbow. Points have been hard to come by for Thompson. She now has 7 on 2 of 11 shooting. 1 of 4 from beyond the arc. Venegas trying to get it down low, is stolen away by Olsen. Thompson in transition, fouled by Isaacson, and Thompson will head to the free throw line for the first time tonight. And Thompson's one of those players that you get the feeling she's going to, this trip to the free throw line, that's an opportunity to get her in a better rhythm. Sometimes big scorers like to get to the free throw line, see the ball go through the rim a couple of times, and you can see Thompson's a good free throw shooter, 83% on the season, and she looks the part, very confident at the free throw line, and she goes 2 for 2. And sometimes those scorers just like to get to the line and see a few baskets go through, and it can make them that much more dangerous, and she's a good player at getting to the basket. So I'm sure for her, she's wishing she could have gotten to that free throw line back in the first half. Isaacson again left open for 3. That time she misfires and it's out of bounds. 16-point lead for St. Kate's. We got 6:53 to go, and I think Don Mulhern wants to talk about those last 6 minutes and 53 seconds. That was the first time tonight that this young Wildcat team looked a little fatigued out there. Let's take a break and a deep breath. We've got 6:53 to go from St. Paul. You're listening to MIAC Women's Basketball.
For exceptional service and selection, look no further than Fury Motors in St. Paul. They're the #1 family-owned dealer to buy a Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, or Ram since all the way back in 1963. So much to choose from, and they make the shopping process easy. Also offering genuine service and financing. Visit stpaul.furymotors.com for more information. People's Electric.
Welcome you back in with the Wildcats up by 16. 66-50 your score. Wildcats have already matched their scoring output that they had Saturday against St. Thomas, and we've still got 6 minutes of basketball. Turnover for St. Ben's. They've been much better in that department in the second half than they were in the first. Clark has it in the backcourt, leading by 16 with 6:35 to go. Down low for Radford, and she traveled with it. Wildcats. Meanwhile, I mentioned that St. Ben's has been better at taking care of the basketball in the second half. The Wildcats probably have not been as good as they were in the first half, taking care of the rock. Still pretty big mountain to climb for St. Ben's, but they've still got the proverbial chip in a chair. That's a poker analogy, the idea that so long as you've got one chip and a chair in the tournament, you could still win it. But they're going to have to get going pretty quick with the shooting. It'll probably come from this one. Thompson. Now Gates drives on Cambrai. Got bumped and drew the foul. 2 shots upcoming for Gates. Foul against Cambrai, the second of the fourth quarter against St. Kate's. And with 6:03 left in the fourth quarter, it's Brianna Gates to the free throw line to shoot 2. Averages 4 a game. Has 3 so far tonight. First shot good for Gates. Cambrai to the bench, Orth in. Good trip to the free throw line for Gates. Wildcats trying to go wire to wire on this one. They have not trailed in this game. Clark had her shot blocked by Gates. Good bit of defense, and Clark came up stumbling after that blocked shot. And she's going to get a substitute. Fostness coming in, but this is a hold your breath moment if you're a Wildcats fan. As Clark's shot was blocked. And we're going to step aside for a short break as Clark helped over to the bench. keep it here. The players go back to work. Audra Clark being attended to by the medical staff here at St. Kate's, as her shot was blocked as she went driving into the basket and immediately came down awkwardly, and as I mentioned, is being attended to by the medical staff here. But obviously with her injury history last year, that is of grave concern for this Wildcat team and for the fifth-year senior out of Kenyon, Minnesota. Holgate drives, kicks. Bennies will line up a three-pointer, and Orth, a big block shot. But the Bennies keep it, 5:30 to go. Bennies trying to make their last stand right here. Right now, though, there's another block shot by Orth. Great defense by the Wildcats and a shot clock violation. Big defensive stand by the Wildcats, and as good as they've been at times offensively in this first half, they've been just as good defensively. 5:20 to go and a turnover as Thompson scores off of the turnover. Thompson now with 11 points, and any time that you see an injury like we just saw to Clark, it just is so hard for a team to collect its focus. That's a travel. Diving in on it was Thompson. She traveled. It'll be Wildcats ball with a fresh shot clock. Because of that bond that teammates have, all those practices and the friendships, and it really does become like a family, and the injury to Clark is very concerning. And you obviously hope for her the best. Again, they've got a great medical staff here checking her out. She's on the far side of that Wildcats bench, but they're taking a look at that left knee area. So the Wildcats, at least for today, will play the rest of this game undoubtedly without Clark. Definitely their veteran leader on this team, and part of that big three with Cam Bryce and Orth, with a lot of the rest of the team. But definitely a relied upon scorer. Cam Bryce lost it, tipped it. And the Wildcats have been a discombobulated mess since Clark's injury. They'll turn it over this time. Their lead, by the way, has been cut to just 13 with 4:34 to go. And you get the sense that the Wildcats, as this three-pointer's on the way, it's short, rebound by Fosness. You get the sense that on that Wildcat bench that they are awfully happy as Fosness is fouled. Benny's trying to pressure the basketball. The foul is against Thompson, her first, and the third against St. Ben's in this fourth quarter. You get the feeling that if you doubled the time on the clock and put 8:40 up there, this could be a real nail-biter going down to it. But we still just got to get this thing through 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Cam Bryce butterfingered it, tried to get it to Orth, and it was picked off by Thompson. Oy, oy, oy. Thompson goes the other way with it. Pulls up. Shot rattled around. No good. Fosness had it. Lost it. It's Benny Ball with 4 minutes to go. And the lead just 13. Olsen down low. Nearly a chance at a three-point play. Shot rattled around on the iron before missing, and Schmitz will go to the free throw line for two. A foul against Cam Bryce is her second. And it sends Schmitz to the free throw line where she shoots 62% on the season. First shot is good for Schmitz. He's now got 10 points. 3 players in double digits for the Bennies. Holgate leads all scorers with 13. Thompson behind her with 11. And Schmitz can join her with 11 points on this next free throw. And this game suddenly feels really snug. Second shot good for Schmitz. She's got 11 points. It's an 11-point lead with 3:57 to go. Seems like just a blink of an eye ago we were up by 22 points. Clark sustained the injury going to the basket, and since then it has been just mayhem for the Wildcats as Cam Bryce is called for a 5-second violation. She stood still, was pressured by the Bennies, froze up, and turned the ball over. 11-point lead with 3:44 to go. Holgate had it poked away by Cambryce, but she fouled in the process. Gates draws the foul. The fourth against St. Kate's in this fourth quarter, and the third against Cambryce. Thompson with it. Goes back outside. The dangerous Holgate lines one up. Too strong. Weak side rebound, Radford. Boy, did the Wildcats need the Bennies to come up empty-handed on that possession. A three-pointer there would have made it a single-digit lead with still better part of 3 minutes to go. Instead, the Wildcats retain this 11-point lead with 3:13 left now, 15 left on their shot clock. Wildcats are definitely trying to salt away this clock right now, trying to play some keep away. Fosness up top for Radford. She drives with the left hand, gives it a heave-ho. Shots off. Radford had it, lost it. Fosness chases it down, and the Wildcats can keep it for another 30 seconds. Instead, Orth trying to go to work, kept it alive, shuttled it off for Venegas. Now Radford with it. Wildcats cannot be in any kind of great hurry right now. Radford drives, picks up her dribble. Orth with it at the free throw line. Outside for Johnson now. Wildcats by 11, trying to hold on to this lead. Radford with 5 to go into the painted area. Spins, little hook shot high off of the window, no good. Rebound collected by Olsen as Don Mulhern urges his team to get back and play defense. A foul against Venegas is their third. It's the fifth against St. Kate's in the third quarter. That means free throws the rest of the way for St. Ben's. And it'll be Megan Thompson going to the free throw line. Megan Thompson with 11 points, and we know that she's deadly from the free throw line. And she clanks her first. 83% on the season, hadn't missed from the free throw line all night tonight. Maybe the broadcaster will take the blame from the Benny fans on that first miss. Her next one, though, can make it just a 10-point game. 2:21 left on the clock. You wonder right now if the Bennies wanted to try to start fouling. Try to extend this game. Second shot is good for Thompson. Mike Durbin wants a timeout. He'll get it. And you wonder if that will be discussed here. Do we start fouling and try to play a free throw game against St. Kate's? Both teams, worth noting, have struggled from the free throw line tonight. 67-57 with 2:21 to go from St. Paul. Again, our thoughts are with number 13 in white, Audra Clark, who was injured driving to the basket. Let's break with the players.
Contractor, one of the Upper Midwest's largest. From building and process automation, communications, construction services, energy savings, testing, and maintenance. Founded in 1922 by William F. Lindbergh and located in St. Paul, find out more information on Peoples Electric Company at www.peoplesco.com. Wildcat Athletics is proudly supported by the Ryan Company, the Hickey family, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., and the Opus Group. Wildcat supporters this season also include Shapco Printing, Sodexo, Terra General Contractors, the O'Neill Group, ProTech Designs, and Floors by Becker.
Didn't look like it was going to be a nail-biter, but right now that's the way it's shaping up. 2:20 to go. Wildcats by 10, 67-57. Your score, Matt Nelson back with you from St. Paul, and it's a turnover. Cambryce committed the offensive foul. She pushed off. It's the fourth foul against Cambryce, and the Wildcats put 6 ticks off of the clock and then turned the ball over. If you're a Wildcats fan right now, you are biting your nails. Because momentum finds itself squarely in Benny Red. Driving baseline and scoring easily is Maddie Schmitz. 13 points for Schmitz. $1:57 to go. Just an 8-point lead. Radford for Johnson. Wildcats better get a bucket at some point in between now and the final horn, or we could be staring overtime right in the face. Radford backpedals. Johnson with it. Crosses over and is fouled by Schmitz. Don't think that's a horrible foul. The foul is the fourth of the fourth quarter and the third against Schmitz.
Falls on that for Schmitz. Third personal, 14.
I'd imagine the fifth foul will be coming up right here, and Don Mulhern wants a timeout, and he'll get it. We'll keep it right here with both players. This is, let's see here, an 8-point deficit. This is as close as these two teams have been, by my math, if I'm not mistaken, since halfway through the second quarter. I mentioned the Wildcats trying to go wire to wire in this one. And boy, you can tell which team is feeling momentum right now. St. Ben's goes into their timeout. Mike Durbin has a brief chat with them and sends them back out onto the floor. Meanwhile, Don Mulhern doing some heavy-duty coaching with his young team. It's a pretty simple formula right now. If you're me, you're definitely riding Cam Bryce here. He's been your best player, that high-low action with her and Orth. Whether it's Orth up top and Cam Bryce down low or the other way around, it's 11 and 23 are the two offensive players that I'm riding right here with $1:41 to go. Let's see what the Wildcats got drawn up. They get it to Venegas. Oh, she lost her defender. Walked in, missed the layup. Offensive board, Cam Bryce. Put back short, loose ball. Venegas came up with it. Wildcats can hold on to this and salt away 30 seconds. St. Ben's has to foul. Thompson chases down Johnson and does just that. Fifth foul will send for the Blazers. Bennies here in the fourth quarter will send Johnson to the free throw line. The second foul against Thompson, and Taylor Johnson to the free throw line. First shot is good for Johnson on the season. Now 7 of 9 from the free throw line is Johnson. Johnson has made her only try from the floor tonight. Has 3 points, now trying to make it 4. Does that. Johnson with 4 points, lead back to 10 with 90 seconds to go. Thompson pushing the pace for the Bennies. Back outside with it, Gates. Into the corner, 3 on the way. Schmitz knocked it down, it's a big shot. Schmitz with 16 points. And a timeout on the floor. It's a 7-point game with 78 seconds to go. And some enthusiastic coaching down there from one of the new coaches under Don Mulhern. Trent Davis was saying, we got to get out there and defend that 3-point shot. It's the only thing that can hurt us with 1:18 to go. Hope all of you have enjoyed tonight's broadcast. It's turned into a very competitive game, 69-62. The Wildcats on top again, the biggest lead, 24 tonight for St. Kate's. The Bennies have trailed from the opening horn. Benny's now shooting 37% from the floor, and the three-pointers have started to come around, 35% on the night, 7 of 20 from the floor. Wildcats shooting 38% from downtown and 49% from the floor. So that's held about even. They shot 51% in the first half. They're at 49 for the game, so pretty darn close to shooting 50%. That's been what's driven them in this game is efficient shooting. They have not taken great care of the basketball, though, in the second half. The Wildcats have turned the ball over 10 times. 13 for the game. Only had 3 turnovers in the first half. Even I can do that math. Minute 18 to go. 69-62, and Cam Bryce fouled immediately. Cam Bryce, how's she shooting on the season from the free throw line? 3 of 6 coming into the game. Tonight, just 1 of 3. So 4 of 9 on this very young season for Cam Bryce, and she'll go to the free throw line with a good chance to, if the Wildcats, basically the game boils down to if we take care of our business from the free throw line, the Wildcats are going to win. 22 points now for Cam Bryce. First shot good, was a big one. Makes it an 8-point game. And Cambryce second on the way. Nothing but the bottom of the net. 23 for Cambryce. Fosness in for Cambryce, who's playing with those 4 fouls. So Don Mulhern's going to protect her defensively from fouling out of this one. Obviously, you've got overtime in the back of your mind if you're Don Mulhern. Johnson drives, and foul's called. Looked like Johnson was midair. They're going to say she got bumped by Venegas, her 3rd foul. And Don Mulhern said that's terrible, and you know it. So Mulhern pulls Cambryce to protect her from a foul, and a foul was called. Megan Thompson goes to the free throw line. And misses her first shot. Don Mulhern is none too pleased with that call late in this game. I try to be as unbiased as possible. There's definitely, on both sides of the floor, been moments of, how do we say this, politically correct, heavier contact that have not drawn whistles, but Thompson will try to make her second. She goes 1 of 2 from the line. 13 points for Thompson, and a big old heave into the front court. It's a beauty for Orth, who comes down with it. Could have scored it uncontested, but instead Venegas will be fouled by Thompson. Tempting when you're Orth, when you're standing under the basket. It's what you dream about, right? I'm under the basket. I got the ball in my hands. Nobody's guarding me. In the end, you really only take away about 3 seconds by getting it to Venegas. You could probably go up and get a 3-point play, but Venegas misses her first. I'm telling you what, if I'm a Wildcat and I see Orth with the ball under the basket with nobody around her, I want that thing going up to score 2. Venegas makes her second. Lucky bounce. 4 points for Venegas. 9-point lead for St. Kate. 65 seconds left. Wildcats just trying to get this thing into the garage. Trying to get into the clubhouse, if you will. Thompson lost it. Fosness couldn't come up with it. Radford's there to pick it up. Radford into the front court. She nearly lost it and was fouled. Things starting to look dire now for St. Ben's. You knew they had that one more push in them. They did. And it came on the heels of the injury to Audra Clark. But the Wildcats looks like, as Radford misses her first, these free throws are a work in progress tonight for St. Kate's. They are now 13 of 23. That's under 60%. Second for Radford. She goes 0 of 2 from the free throw line. So just when I try to put a fork in St. Ben's, we get 2 misses. But a steal by Cambryce. And that just about should do it. An 11-point lead with 47 seconds to go. Big bucket for Cambryce. Big turnover in the backcourt for St. Ben's. And a turnover. Thompson went up and down. .42 seconds left. Stay tuned to our Wildcat post-game show. We're going to be joined by Donica Cambryce, Wildcats' leading scorer in this one. Into the front court with it now. Radford. We'll see if St. Ben's wants to try one more game of foul or if they're going to wave the white flag here. Orth in the back door. Big bucket with the left hand. Sam Orth now with 15. And a 13-point lead. Wildcats by a baker's dozen. 20 seconds to go. It looks like the Wildcats are going to improve their season record to 3-4 and get their first conference win of the season here tonight at home. And they'll have St. Olaf coming up on Saturday, a team to pick to finish second to last. But what this team can do this year, a lot of that's going to depend on what we find out about the injury to Audra Clark. Hard to imagine, no matter how much young talent, good talent Don Mulhern has accumulated, this team making a bona fide deep run into the postseason without her services. But that will be a story for another day, because today the Wildcats win it 76-63. Donica Cambryce had 23 points. She'll join us in our Wildcat post-game show in just a moment. Keep it tuned right here as the Wildcats improve to 3-4 overall. St. Ben's falls to 3-4. Both teams are now 1-1 in the MIAC.
As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. Questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, check out their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. Thank you, Goodmanson Construction. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since all the way back in 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in schools and communities.
Bring you back into the Butler Center. Matt Nelson back with you as the Wildcats win tonight by a score of 76-63. It's a Wildcat post-game show. Donica Cambrais will join us here in just a moment. There we are, Mr. Tom Ritchie. Thank you, sir. Again, Donica Cambrais will be joining us as the Wildcats get their first MIAC win of the season, and they do it in impressive fashion. They go wire to wire here on our Wildcat post-game show against a very good St. Ben's team that defeated Gustavus in their first game. Where is she? Donica Cambrais joins us on our Wildcat post-game show. This is new this year. Have you just step up right here? This is new this year. Coach wants post-game interviews after big wins. This was a good one. St. Ben's a really good team. They had a big win on Saturday against Gustavus, and you guys went wire to wire. You never trailed in this game. What were some of your thoughts out there?
We just wanted to control the tempo and then stay focused and calm. When you have a lead, it's easy to relax. And we know St. Ben's could easily have come back, so we just try to concentrate and still play as a team.
Couldn't have been a much different start than Saturday against St. Thomas. You guys were outscored 30-15 in that one. Here, 21-point lead at halftime. What you knew, like you hinted at, that St. Ben's had one more push in, and we saw it late in the fourth quarter. I'm sure you and your teammates were awfully happy there weren't another 5 minutes left on that clock. Good to get this one into the clubhouse, right?
Yeah, it feels great. St. Ben's is a great team, and this is an awesome conference win.
How about the combo between you and Sam Orth, that high-low action, whether it's her up top and you down low or the other way around? You guys, although she's a youngster, a newcomer to this program, you seem to have a good connection offensively out there.
I think it's easy to play with Sam because she's so athletic and she finishes well, and she's just strong, so she's a nice teammate to have too.
Nice win. Nice to be on the board in conference play. You guys are 1-1, and you have St. Olaf coming in here on Saturday. Our thoughts are with Audra Clark. That was scary late here in the fourth quarter, but congrats on this nice win.
Thank you.
All right, Donica Cambrais joining us on our Wildcat post-game show. Again, 76-63, the final score. We'll talk to you again on Saturday, a 1 o'clock tip-off in that one right here on TJSportsOnline.net.